Commander Lucas Hayes looked out at the black sky through the big window of the Earth Defense Station. A massive ship hung in the darkness like a hunting animal waiting to strike. The ship was bigger than any building humans had ever made. Its metal surface was smooth and dark, made of something Lucas did not know. This was a Zethian warship, and it had been waiting there for 3 weeks. The people who lived on the station were nervous. They talked quietly in the halls. They ate fast and did not laugh. Everyone knew what the ship meant. The war was over, but it had ended in a strange way. Neither side had won completely. Humans and Zethians had both lost so much. Now the two species had signed a peace treaty. No one trusted it very much, but it was better than more death. Lucas was tall and strong. His face showed the hard life of a soldier. He had brown hair that was turning gray. His eyes were blue and sharp. He had fought in the war since he was young. He had seen his friends die. He had killed Zethians in battle. He did not enjoy killing, but he had done what was needed to keep his people safe. Now he was the one who talked with the Zethians about peace. This was hard work, maybe harder than fighting. The communication system made a sound. Red light blinked on the black screen. A message was coming in. Lucas took a long breath. This was the call he had been waiting for. Queen Ariella wanted to talk. He sat down in the big chair and put his hand on the button. The screen went white, then blue, then an image appeared. The Zethian queen was like nothing made of flesh and blood. Her body was hard and smooth, like a jewel. Her color was bright blue and shone with light from inside. She had many eyes, maybe 12 of them, and they all looked at Lucas at the same time. Her arms had many joints and could move in ways that human arms could not. Her voice came from somewhere inside her body and made the air vibrate. "Commander Hayes," she said. Her words were slow and clear. "I am Queen Ariella of the Zethian Empire. We have much to discuss about the future of our two peoples." "Your Majesty," Lucas said. He kept his voice calm and strong. "I am glad to speak with you. Peace is what we all need." "Peace is one thing," the Queen said. "But I come with something more. Something that will bind our species together. Something that will end all fear between us." Lucas did not like the way she said this. Her voice had a sound of control in it, like she was used to giving orders and having them followed. "What do you mean?" Lucas asked. "My daughter, Princess Kesla, needs a mate," the Queen said. The words came out hard and direct. "Your genes are good. Your body is strong. She needs to have children with you. This union will create a new race. A race better than both of ours. A race that is stronger, faster, and smarter. This is what you will do. This is the price of peace." Lucas felt cold. The words hit him hard. He understood what she was saying. The Queen was telling him, not asking him. In the Zethian way, he had no choice. This was an order. "Your Majesty," Lucas said slowly, "I'm honored. But I cannot do this." The Queen's many eyes went wide. Her body went stiff. The air on the station felt colder. "You cannot do this," she repeated. "You refuse the Queen of Zethia?" "I do," Lucas said. He kept his voice firm, even though his heart was beating fast. "I cannot speak for someone else. I cannot give you a human being like she is a thing you own. This is not the human way. We do not do this. But you will do it," the Queen said. "I have weapons that can destroy your station in moments. I have weapons that can burn your cities. I have the power to kill everyone, you know. And you refuse me?" Lucas could feel sweat on his face now. He thought about the people below, in the city. He thought about the children. He thought about his wife Sarah, who died in the war. He thought about what it meant to be human. "Your Majesty," he said, "I understand you have power. I understand you can kill us. But what kind of future do we build if you take what you want by force? Your daughter would not be happy. No human who is forced into such a thing would be happy. She would hate you. She would hate herself. She would hate all Zethians. This union would not make peace. It would make pain. You speak of things you do not understand, the Queen said. Zethians do not think of happiness the way you do. We think of strength. We think of power. We think of the future of our race. That is the problem, Lucas said. His voice was louder now. He was not afraid anymore. He was angry. You think of your race and nothing else. But humans think of each person. We think of each one's dreams and hopes and fears. We do not own each other. We do not use each other. We choose each other. This is why we are strong. Not because of weapons or power, but because we choose to be together. The Queen did not speak for a long time. Her eyes blinked, all of them at the same time. You are brave, she said finally. Or you are foolish. I have not yet decided which. I am human, Lucas said. That is all? I do what is right, even when it is hard. Even when someone has power over me. Then you will give me an answer I do not want to hear, the Queen said. And I will have to decide what to do about a human who refuses the Queen. The screen went black. The message was over. Lucas sat in the dark. His hands were shaking. He had just refused the most powerful being he had ever met. He did not know if he would live to see tomorrow. But he knew he had done the right thing. Somewhere in his heart, he knew that to give in would have been the real death. Not death of the body, but death of what made him human. The station was quiet. The black sky was still black. The Zethian ship was still there. And Lucas Hayes waited to see what would come next. He had made his choice. Now the Queen would make hers. 3 days had passed since Lucas refused the Queen. 3 days of waiting. 3 days of not knowing if the Zethian ship would attack or leave. 3 days of watching the station, watching the sky, watching for death to come from the stars. But nothing happened. The ship stayed in the same place. No weapons fired. No demands came through the communication system. It was as if the Queen was thinking, deciding what to do next. Then, on the morning of the 4th day, a smaller ship moved away from the big Zethian warship. It was not a battleship. It was small and clean-looking. It came toward the station slowly and carefully. This was a different kind of message. This was a ship of diplomacy, not war. Lucas stood in the docking bay as the ship landed. Around him were guards, ready for anything. But Lucas had a feeling in his chest that told him this was not an attack. The Queen was trying something new. The door of the ship opened, and a bridge came out. Figures began to walk across it. The first was Princess Kesla. She was smaller than her mother, the Queen. Her body was the same hard, shiny material, but her color was different. She had violet and gold running through her blue skin like rivers. Where the Queen was all hard edges and angles, Kesla seemed softer somehow. Her eyes were fewer, only 6 of them, and they looked at Lucas with something that was not command. It looked like question. It looked like interest. Behind her came an old being. This was Elder Zethis, the grandmother of Kesla. Her skin had turned cloudy white with age. She moved slowly, and her eyes were dim. But when she looked at Lucas, he felt that she could see deep inside him, to the very core of who he was. The guards did not move. Princess Kesla stopped in front of Lucas. For a moment, nothing was said. They just looked at each other. Human and Zethian. Male and female. 2 different kinds of life. I am Princess Kesla, she said. Her voice was different from her mother's. It was lower and softer. It did not vibrate the air the same way. My mother sent me to understand why you refused her. I can explain, Lucas said. I do not want you to explain to me, Kesla said. I want to understand. There's a difference. Will you help me understand? Lucas looked at Elder Zethis. The old being gave a small motion with one of her arms. It was a gesture that said yes. Go ahead. Lucas led them to a small room. It was not a meeting room for officials. It was a place where the soldiers came to rest. There were pictures on the walls of human families. There were photos of people together, smiling, holding each other. It was the most human place on the station. Kessler looked at all the pictures. She looked for a long time. What are these? She asked. Families, Lucas said. People who love each other. Husbands and wives. Mothers and children. Friends who chose to be together. Chose, Kessler said. This word means they had many options and picked one. Yes, Lucas said. Why would this matter? Kessler asked. My mother chose me no choice. She made all choices for me. This is how we have always done things. The strong decide. The weak follow. Lucas sat down. Because when you do not choose, you do not know yourself. You do not know what you really want. You do not know if you are strong or weak, because the strong one is deciding for you. Elder Zethis made a sound. It was like a long breath. This is an idea, she said. Our species has never had this idea. I had a wife, Lucas said. He pointed to a picture on the wall. It showed a woman with red hair and a big smile. Her name was Sarah. I did not have to marry her. I could have married someone else. I could have stayed alone. But I chose Sarah because I loved her. Every day with her was a gift because I had chosen her freely. What is this love? Kessler asked. My mother did not use this word. It is hard to explain, Lucas said. It is when another person matters more to you than yourself. It is when you want to be with them more than anything else. It is when their happiness is as important as your own. Kessler was quiet. She kept looking at the picture of Sarah. I was in the war, Lucas said. Sarah died in the war. A Zethian weapon took her from me. I could have hated all Zethians forever. I could have refused to talk about peace. I could have let my anger rule me. But I did not. I chose to try to build peace instead. This is because of what Sarah taught me about choice. About building a life instead of destroying one. Elder Zethis walked closer to the picture. Her old eyes became bright. You are telling us that your species survives through connection, she said. Not through power, but through the bonds you make with each other. Yes, Lucas said. The old being turned to her granddaughter. This man has shown you something important. Something that I have begun to wonder about myself. Our kind has been strong for 10,000 years. But we are not growing anymore. We are just repeating the same ways. Maybe we have lost something in all our strength. Kessler looked at Lucas. If you had chosen to marry me because my mother forced you, what would have happened? I would have been miserable, Lucas said. You would have been unhappy. Our children would have learned that love does not matter. That choice does not matter. They would become like we are now, always looking for power instead of looking for meaning. But I do not want to be unhappy, Kessler said. I do not want to be used like a tool. Then you already understand why I refused, Lucas said. Kessler made a movement with her body that looked like sitting, though her body did not bend the way a human body did. I want to learn more about this choice, she said. I want to understand what my mother does not understand. Will you teach me? Lucas looked at Elder Zethis. The old being nodded slowly. My queen will not be happy with this, Lucas said. Your mother sent you here to convince me, not the other way around. Then let her be unhappy, Kessler said, and for the first time, her voice had power in it. Not the power of command, but the power of someone who knew what she wanted. If I am to have a future, it must be one I choose, not one my mother gives to me. Elder Zethis made that sound again, like a long breath. But this time, It sounded like a smile. "We will return to the queen with new knowledge," the elder said. "And we will tell her that her daughter has learned something she never knew. That refusing the wrong thing is the same as choosing the right thing." News of what happened in the station spread fast. People in the human cities heard that Princess Kesla had asked to learn about human ways. They heard that she wanted to understand choice. Some humans were happy about this. They thought it meant a real peace was coming. Other humans were afraid. They thought the Zethians were planning something new and dangerous. But the biggest shock came from the Zethian scientists. Elder Zethis called a meeting. Not a secret meeting, but an open one. Both humans and Zethians were invited. She stood before them and told them something that changed everything. The Zethian Empire was dying. The hard, shiny bodies that had made Zethians powerful were turning weak. Something was broken in their genes. It had been broken for a very long time, maybe for hundreds of years. At first, it had not mattered much. But now it was getting worse every year. Young Zethians were being born with bodies that did not work right. Their skin became soft in places it should be hard. Their minds were not as sharp. Their strength was fading. The queen had hidden this truth from her own people. She had told them they were stronger than ever. She had told them they could rule the galaxy. But inside, she knew the truth. The Zethian Empire was becoming weaker. Something had to change, or the entire species would die out. This was why the queen had demanded that Lucas give her his child. She thought that human genes could fix what was wrong. She thought a new race, half human and half Zethian, could save her people. The humans in the room were shocked. Some of them wanted to be angry. Others wanted to be happy, thinking the Zethians were finally defeated without any more fighting. But Lucas felt something different. He felt sad. He understood now that the queen was not evil. She was desperate. She was trying to save her people the only way she knew how. Elder Zethis continued speaking. "I have been studying human behavior," she said. "I have been watching your kind for weeks now. And I have learned something. Something that science alone cannot find. Something that my queen did not understand." She paused. Everyone waited to hear what she would say next. "The Zethian Empire is not dying because of genes," the elder said. "We are dying because we have forgotten how to grow. For 10,000 years, we have been strong. We have been hard. We have been ruthless. We have dominated others because we could. But we have stopped being creative. We have stopped being willing to change. We have stopped being willing to learn." She pointed at Lucas. This human refused the queen. He did this not because he was stronger or braver in the way we understand strength and bravery. He did this because he was willing to choose something hard over something easy. He was willing to risk everything to hold on to what he believed was right. This is not something you can get from genes. This is something you must learn. An older Zethian male stood up. "Are you saying," he said, "that we must become weak like humans? That we must question our leaders? That we must let others decide what happens to them?" "No," Elder Zethis said. "I am saying that strength without change is the same as death that takes a long time. I am saying that true power is not forcing others to do what you want. True power is making others want to work with you. True power is being able to change your mind when you learn something new." She looked directly at the queen, who was watching from a video screen. "My queen, your daughter has learned in 3 days what you have not learned in 300 years. She has learned that refusing what is wrong is the beginning of choosing what is right. She has learned that Zethians can be strong in a new way." The queen did not speak. Her many eyes blinked, one after another. "Furthermore," Elder Zethis said, "I have discovered something else. The genetic problem we face is not something that can be fixed by bringing in new blood from outside. Our problem is that we are too perfect, too specialized. We can only survive in exact conditions. Humans are the opposite. They can survive almost anywhere. They can adapt to anything. But they do this not through genes alone. They do this through their ability to choose, to think, to try new things, to fail, and start over. A human scientist stood up. Are you saying we should try to breed humans with Zethians? Even though you now understand why Commander Hayes refused. No, Elder Zethus said. I am saying we should share knowledge, not bodies. We should teach each other how to think differently. We should learn from each other's ways. And we should do this because we want to, not because we are forced to. She paused, and when she spoke again, her voice was very soft. 100 years ago, the Zethian Empire started hunting and conquering other species. We did this because we believed we were superior. But now I understand something. We were not superior. We were afraid. We were afraid that we were not strong enough. So we used force to feel strong. But real strength is not about force. Real strength is about being willing to be wrong and being brave enough to change. In the silence that followed, Lucas felt something shift inside the room. It was like everyone was breathing differently. Like everyone had suddenly seen something they had been missing their whole lives. The Queen's voice came through the speaker system. It was quieter than before, but it was clear. Elder Zethus, you are saying that I have been failing my people not by being weak, but by refusing to change. Yes, the Elder said. And you are saying that a refusal from a human commander has taught us more than 100 years of conquest? Yes, the Elder said again. The Queen was silent for a very long time. Then she spoke. Bring Princess Kessla to me. And bring Commander Hayes. We have much to discuss. And this time, I will listen instead of command. For the first time since the war had ended, Lucas believed that real peace might actually be possible. Not peace because one side defeated the other, but peace because both sides had learned to see the world differently. The meeting room was built specially for this moment. It was the first place that was made to be comfortable for both humans and Zethians. The temperature was cool enough for the Zethians, but not so cold that humans would freeze. The light was bright like the Zethians preferred, but not so bright that it hurt human eyes. The air was clean. There were places to stand and places to sit. Everything in the room said one thing. Both kinds of beings matter here equally. Lucas entered first. Then came Kessla and Elder Zethus. The Queen arrived last. She seemed different than she had before. Her body was the same hard, shiny blue form. Her voice was still deep and strong. But something in the way she moved had changed. She did not march into the room like she owned it. She walked into it like she was walking into a place that belonged to everyone. Commander Hayes, the Queen said. She did not command him to sit. She simply gestured to a chair. I have asked you here because I need to say something. I do not do this easily. My kind does not apologize. We do not admit we were wrong. But I am doing this now. Lucas did not know what to say. He waited. I demanded that you give me your child, the Queen continued. I demanded this as if you were a tool that belonged to me. I did not ask. I did not listen. I did not care what you wanted or needed. I saw only what I wanted. I saw only the future of my empire. I did not see you as a person. I saw you as a means to an end. The Queen paused, her many eyes fixed on Lucas. You refused me, and in your refusal, you taught me more than any teacher ever has. You showed me that real strength is not taking what you want. Real strength is respecting the choices of others, even when you have the power to take what you want by force. Your Majesty, Lucas said carefully, I understand that your people are facing danger. I understand that you were trying to save your species. I was trying to save my species through the old ways, the Queen said. Through taking, through controlling, through assuming I knew what was best. But there is another way. A way that will be harder. A way that will take longer. A way that will require me to trust others instead of controlling them. She turned to her daughter. Kesla, I have kept you as a possession. I have made your choices for you since you were born. I told you who you would marry, what you would do, how you would live. I did this because I believed I was protecting you. But now I see I was not protecting you. I was imprisoning you. Kesla made a movement with her body that was like a human reaching out. The Queen moved toward her daughter, and for the first time, they did not touch like a queen and a princess. They touched like a mother and a daughter with gentleness and warmth. I am sorry, the Queen said. I am sorry for all the choices I took from you. I forgive you, Kesla said, because now I have learned something. I have learned that I can change. I have learned that I can choose. I have learned that being my mother's daughter does not mean I have to be exactly like her. The Queen turned back to Lucas. I asked you why you refused me. I did not understand the answer then, but now I do. You refused because giving me what I wanted would have hurt my own daughter. You refused because you knew that a life without choice is not a life at all. You refused because you understood something that my entire civilization had forgotten. What is that? Lucas asked, though he thought he already knew the answer. That the most important thing is not power or strength or control, the Queen said. The most important thing is meaning. People must have meaning in their lives. They must feel that their choices matter. They must feel that they are not just tools being used by someone else. Elder Zethus made that soft breathing sound that was like a Zethian smile. My Queen, she said, you are finally becoming a true leader. A leader who thinks not just about her empire, but about the lives of the beings in her empire. I want to ask you something, the Queen said to Lucas. Will you help my people learn this? We know how to fight. We know how to build. We know how to control. But we do not know how to live with meaning. We do not know how to let others choose. We do not know how to adapt our ways. Will you teach us? Lucas thought about Sarah. He thought about the war. He thought about all the Zethians and humans who had died. He thought about whether this queen could really change, or if she was just saying the right words to get what she wanted. But then he looked at Kesla. He saw something in her that gave him hope. She was not forced to be here. She was choosing to learn about human ways. She was choosing to become someone new. If a Zethian princess could make that choice, maybe her people really could change. I will help, Lucas said. Not to serve the Empire, but to help individuals live better lives. I will teach Zethians what it means to have the freedom to choose. But I will only do this if it is real. If it is just words and your people still live under control, then I will stop. I accept this, the Queen said. I will change the laws of my empire. I will give my people the right to choose their own mates. I will give them the right to choose their own paths in life. I will step back from total control and let my people have voices in how they are governed. This will be hard. There will be chaos. There will be mistakes. But it is the only way to save us. It is brave, Elder Zethus said, and it is right. Lucas felt something loosen in his chest. Maybe peace was not just possible. Maybe it was actually beginning. Not because one side defeated the other, but because both sides were willing to change. Both sides were willing to learn. Both sides were willing to see that there was a better way than force and control. There is one more thing, the Queen said. She looked at Lucas. I asked for you to give me your child as a mate for my daughter. Now I ask something different. Will you be Kesla's teacher instead? Will you help her learn what it means to be human? Not in the way of sharing genes, but in the way of sharing knowledge and wisdom? Lucas looked at Kesla. She looked back at him. In her alien eyes, he saw the same thing he saw in human eyes when someone wanted to learn something new. He saw hope. "Yes," Lucas said. "I will be her teacher. And I think she will teach me things too. I think we all have much to learn from each other." The Queen moved closer to Lucas and extended one of her arms. Lucas took it gently. It was hard and cool, but it was not cold. It was alive. "Thank you," the Queen said, "for refusing me." "Thank you," Lucas said, "for being willing to listen." 5 years had passed since the day Lucas refused the Queen. 5 years of building something new. 5 years of learning and teaching, and slowly changing the galaxy. The research center was the largest building on the planet. It was made with both human and Zethian technology combined together. It was a place where the two species lived and worked side by side. In the gardens of the center, Kesla was teaching a group of young Zethians how to grow food the human way. She had changed much in 5 years. She still had her hard, shiny blue skin with the violet and gold running through it. She still had her 6 eyes. But the way she moved, the way she thought, the way she spoke about the world, all of this was different now. She moved with the gentleness of someone who had learned to respect others. She thought about problems in ways that mixed Zethian logic with human creativity. She spoke with passion about ideas and possibilities instead of just commands and orders. "Why do we grow food this way?" asked a young Zethian male. He was named Kret, and he had been born after the peace began. He did not remember the war. He only knew the new world where Zethians and humans worked together. "Because," Kesla said, "growing food is not just about feeding ourselves. It is about connection. When you grow food, you are not controlling nature and forcing it to give you what you want. You are working with nature. You are cooperating with it. You are building a relationship with the world around you. This is what humans understand that we did not." She pointed to a human farmer named David, who was working in the garden nearby. "David, will you tell them what growing food means to you?" David stopped working and stood up. He was older than Lucas, with gray hair and a lined face. He had lost his son in the war to a Zethian weapon. But he had come to the center because he believed that teaching was the way to make sure there would be no more wars. "When I grow food," David said, "I am thinking about the future. I am thinking about people I do not know yet who will eat this food. I am thinking about my grandchildren and their grandchildren. I am not just thinking about today. I am thinking about generations. This is why I grow food instead of just taking it from machines. Because it connects me to the future." The young Zethians listened carefully. Some of them understood. Some of them did not understand yet. But they were learning. That was what mattered. Later that day, Lucas was in the main office of the center when the Queen arrived. She came once every few months to see how the work was progressing. Lucas stood up to greet her. The Queen was still the Queen. She still had power. She still made important decisions. But the way she led her people had changed completely. After 5 years of reform, the Zethian Empire was a different place. Young Zethians could now choose their own paths. They could refuse orders. They could speak their opinions. There had been problems, yes. Some Zethians did not like the changes. There had been disagreements and arguments. But there had been no civil war. Slowly, the new ways were taking root. "How are the genetic studies proceeding?" the Queen asked. This was her main reason for visiting, though Lucas knew there was more to it than science. "The results are not what you first hoped for," Lucas said. He showed her data on a screen. "We are not going to create a new super race by mixing human and Zethian genes. The genetic differences are too great. But we are finding something else. Something more important." "What is that?" the Queen asked. "We are finding the causes of your genetic problem," Lucas said. It was not about needing outside genes. It was about your people living too long the same way. You stopped adapting. You stopped trying new things. You stopped changing. And when a species stops changing, it starts dying. The answer is not new genes. The answer is teaching your young people to think differently, to take risks, to experiment with new ideas, to be willing to fail. He paused, then added, Kessler is the best example of this. She has taken human ideas and Zethian logic and created something new. She has become stronger by learning from another species, not by breeding with them. The Queen made a low sound that was like thinking. 5 years ago, I would have been angry with this answer. I would have wanted concrete results that I could measure and control. But now I understand that the best results are the ones that take time to grow and cannot be fully controlled. She turned to look out the window at the gardens where Kessler was still teaching the young Zethians. My daughter is happy. This is something I never saw before. When I controlled all her choices, she was not happy. She was just obedient. But now, when she makes her own choices, she glows with life. This tells me that what you have taught us is true. It is true for all living beings, Lucas said. Humans need to choose. Zethians need to choose. Everyone needs to choose. When you choose, you become more alive. A communication came through. It was from a human city. A woman had just given birth. She had named her baby Sarah, after Lucas's wife who had died in the war. The woman wanted Lucas to know that she had named her daughter. This to honor those who had died and to hope for a future where humans and Zethians could live in peace. Lucas read the message and felt tears on his face. The Queen saw this and did not look away or ignore it. She simply waited for him to speak. This woman never knew Sarah, Lucas said. But she named her daughter after her anyway, to remember the dead and to hope for peace. This is what humans do. We remember. We grieve. We hope. We try again. We do not just forget and move on. This is what we are learning from you, the Queen said. That pain and hope can live together. That remembering can be the beginning of creating something new. They stood together in silence for a moment. The Queen and the human commander. The two beings who had started all of this by refusing to accept the simple answer to a difficult question. Tell me, the Queen said, why did you refuse me? Not the words you said before, but the real reason deep inside your heart. Lucas thought about Sarah. He thought about all the people who had died in the war. He thought about the children who would be born into a better world because he had said no to the Queen. I refused, he said, because I believed that you were more than just a queen looking for genes. I believed that you were a person who could change. I believed that if I showed you what choice meant, what freedom meant, what it meant to respect others, that you might understand. And I was right. The Queen made that soft sound again. It was her version of a smile. Your refusal was the kindest thing anyone has ever done for me, she said, because it was the first time anyone ever treated me like a person who could learn and change, instead of like a queen who's always right. You gave me a gift I did not know I needed. You gave me the chance to become something better. 5 years later, the galaxy was changing. Not quickly, not easily, but it was changing. Humans and Zethians were building something new together. They were learning to see each other not as enemies or tools, but as people with ideas and hopes and the right to choose their own futures. It had started with one refusal. It had continued with one person willing to listen. And now it was growing into something that might change the entire galaxy. In the gardens, Kessler was showing the young Zethians how to plant seeds. She explained that seeds had to be buried in the dark earth before they could grow toward the light. This is like learning, she said. You must be willing to be in darkness and uncertainty before you can reach toward the light of new understanding. You must be willing to let yourself change and grow. The young Zethians listened. And somewhere in the way she taught them, in the gentleness of her movements and the hope in her voice, you could see that the future was going to be different. Not perfect, but different, better, full of possibility. And it had all started because one human commander had the courage to say no.